what is a message of advice you would give to your younger self or young women looking to have a career in soccer?
I think the first message would be is allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to be your best. Have the courage to push yourself and give 100% while you're doing things that you're passionate about. And also really get comfortable being uncomfortable. You
Yeah.
know, I think that's the message that I would probably send to myself and that I try to give to the girls and the boys that I coach today. It's just really, putting yourself out there can be vulnerable, but really try hard to be vulnerable enough to do your best.
And just to give a background on yourself, could you describe how you first started in soccer and what has made you remain involved?
I first started playing soccer in grade school at a local community club in Bloomington, Minnesota, and my dad was my coach. So that was really comforting, a nice thing to have him as my coach. I had a great time playing with my friends. It was a community club. I went to school with all the people that I played with, which was super important. Um, and I really enjoyed feeling like I belonged and getting together and being part of a team. And I think that is why I've remained in the sport and specifically soccer, is that I love the game and I'm really passionate about helping young women and men become who they are through the sport of soccer. I think you can discover a lot about yourself playing sport. And I think it teaches you so many things, even when you're not looking or even when you think you're not learning. Just playing teaches you how to compete, how to be resilient. It teaches characteristics that you'll have for the rest of your life. Belonging in your age group and being in a community that kids at soccer, kids at school, you might play, kids when you do other activities. It really helps you feel comfortable enough to be uncomfortable and perhaps be able to be your best self at all times, um, and experience the joy that is felt when a team comes together and is successful, not necessarily only for the wins and the losses, but being successful by if they're trying to do a certain pattern or if they're working on something or having team goals and being successful at them, I think is so important for kids to understand how to work as a group, how to work as individuals, and how to win as a team, how to lose as a team. And I hope that I'm able to pass along some of those aspects of life through coaching.
Could you describe your involvement with the ID2 program?
The ID2 program, I think, is a great program because it allows individuals the opportunity to compete and learn and grow from a cohort that hopefully you have like abilities and you can push each other's. Sometimes, on a team, you're in different levels, different tiers of ability, you're able to come together with a group of people who have likability. And I think that's really important to increase your performance and to figure out, hey, where do I need to improve? What am I doing really well at? Time of reflection. I had a great opportunity to be part of the program at the regional level as an evaluator. And it was great seeing so many women having the courage and the opportunity to come together for the event and to meet other athletes who are passionate about them, who work as hard as they are, and who excel in the sport of soccer, and to just get out there and compete. When you're at these particular programs, the energy that the kids bring and the excitement and the idea of learning and growing is fabulous. You just kind of want to bottle that energy up and be able to open it up when you're having a hard day. But being around kids, an entire team of kids who are completely passionate for what they do is really electrifying and great things come out of it. Creativity, the kids learn that they can maybe push themselves harder and they learn what it's truly like to become together with a kind of a bunch of strangers and then all of a sudden be a team. It's a really great program and an opportunity for young women to participate in. And I was fortunate enough to be around that as an evaluator.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I experienced that 2 weeks ago when I was there. It's like these kids don't know each other, and then by the end of the week, they're like best
Yeah,
friends. It
they're
was,
friends. They're changing
yeah,
social media. I mean, it can be life changing, truly, for them
yeah.
as individuals, and especially life changing for them in the area of their sport. So it's great.
Yeah, and it's a great experience to call home to as well about
Yeah.
I was
And
identified as one of the best, so
yeah,
see how you actually compare against the others. Yeah, as you said.
yeah. And be able to bring that, what you learned, back to your club, and then to be a leader for that, for the
Hmm.
rest of your group. And you don't even know you're doing it. Such great qualities to have.
So your club has put emphasis on sportsmanship. Could you provide some examples and how has that been accomplished?
So the Prior Lake Soccer Club's mission is full child development through the sport of soccer. So we really take that seriously. So we really focus on developing the athlete to be as best as they can be, as well as the whole child being help them understand all the characteristics that go into life skills, how to be a good neighbor. So we have a program called L.E.D.G.E, which means the acronym stands for Leadership, Excellence, Discipline, Grit, and Enjoyment. And we have leadership camps that is put on by our staff, and our staff is fabulous. We have a bunch of people in our community who buy into the concept of, hey, let's meet these kids where they're at. They play sport and we love the game of soccer. We're passionate about it. So let's teach them great stuff on the field as an athlete. And then also let's teach them great things on how to be a really good neighbor. And most of the kids in our club, I would say, know what ledge is. A lot of them have come up through the ages with ledge. When you get to be in the high school area or age group, we have them be the leaders and be the trainers for the, you 9, 10, 11, and 12-year-olds that come up through ledge. And it's a really great community program and a great community camp that these kids attend. So that's kind of how we really emphasize leadership in our club. And then we also have certain, like the Trident Award. The Trident is part of our logo, and it just talks about we hand it out to kids who have shown great leadership on and off the field, whether that's by working with our rec program or doing something in the community that they did was great. So we try to recognize those players who are kind of showing what we're looking for as far as leadership, excellence, discipline, grit, and enjoyment.
That's great that you instill it so young that it's more than just, playing on the field, that there's a community to be built off of it and to give back to.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
really fun. It's great. When we give assignments to the players at the camp and they go home and they talk to their parents about what are the family values and they write them
it's
down
just,
and then they talk about it at camp and um, it's great. It's fun to see them have that conversation with their parents and then bring it to their group and to be excited to talk about their values
yeah.
as a family. It's pretty
I
fun.
think it's cool that it comes from their soccer club because there's really, I mean, I don't know if a kid's in school and they're pushing that, but a kid doesn't really get that unless the parents bring it up. But they're like, kind of like, all right, let's start this conversation.
It's great. I had mentors like that growing up who really cared about the person and the player. And
Mm,
I've had so many great coaches as a young child that have really I've been able to take things from them and then just kind of try to implement those into our community, which is good. It's fun.
How do you think playing soccer shapes young athletes for the futures off the field?
I know that playing sport helps youth prepare for adulthood. There's also a ton of statistics that for women, especially who play sport, are turn out to be super successful, and the statistics are staggering. There's one that talks about 94% of female executives have actually played sport. 74% say a background in sport can help accelerate a woman's career. When talking to decision makers, whether it's admissions to a college or people who are hiring, 2 out of 3 people say that a background in sport really influences their decision to actually hire the person or give them a promotion. I think people value sport. I think sport is one of the things that technically money can't really buy. It's the effort, it's the commitment, it's the resiliency, it's the passion, it's the drive that gets you where you are. And all those statistics were from ESPNW and the Women's Athletic Business Review. I just think I can't speak enough of how positive sport is for young people, especially women. to give them an opportunity to compete, as I said, and really learn and understand what it means to compete with others, but mostly with yourself. I think unless you compete with yourself, you're not going to become the true elite athlete because you can be the best on a team, but that doesn't mean you're being your best. So, really focusing on being your best instead of the best is something that we actually really try to do with Ledge and to make kids understand that if you're doing your best, that's awesome. That's a success. That's a win. That is something that's going to carry you through years of your life.
How have you seen women's soccer grow in your time as a player, coach, and a director?
Immensely. So I grew up playing in the 90s. I played at UW-Madison, Wisconsin. And when I played, there wasn't a Big Ten. And so we would travel. It was great. We traveled to the East and the West Coast constantly. And now you look at the conferences that the women's soccer programs have. I mean, they can go anywhere. There's hundreds of schools children can pick from. And the opportunity that they have is pretty much endless in sport in general, which has been great to see that women have that opportunity.
I know you had mentioned it briefly earlier. Mentors along the way, how did you have any, and what kind of influence did they have on you as a player, as a coach, and now as a director?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I had great coaches. I can't say enough about the coaches I had in all sports. I played basketball, softball, track, soccer, emphasized with soccer, but my mentors were great. They were kind humans. They coached at a time when coaching was probably volunteer. They coached at a time when they did it because they were passionate and wanted to give back. And that is the feeling that they gave their athletes, that they gave part of themselves to their athletes and tried to help them be better people. Um, some of the mentors I had were obviously my dad, Reno Maila, Chuck Coffey. He was a former wrestler for the Olympic team. He was our soccer coach. Didn't know much about soccer, but gosh, did he know a lot about humans. Greg Ryan. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of female coaches at the time, but we had some role models for females in the athletic department at Thomas Jefferson High School. Mary Valella was huge. I actually got to see somebody in an athletic role, other than being, a cheerleader at that time. And
Mhm.
not to say anything's wrong with being a cheerleader, but it was nice to see that happen. And even now, my mentors, our current coaches, our past coaches, are some of my players. Um, the learning process doesn't stop. As you know, you just continue to learn through people you meet, your fiercest competitors. What are they doing? What are the coaches doing over there? And getting ideas. And like I said, learning from your players and your current coaches are great. So lifelong learner here. Love to learn.
What are some of your favorite youth soccer memories, or soccer just in general?
I think getting together with my team and traveling in college, it was great. As I mentioned, we traveled a lot. Just being with a group of people who have a like mind and want to compete and want to and give themselves to the game and to give everything they have, I think is my greatest memories of going to tournaments. We did the USA Cup as a kid. It was called the Snickers Cup when they were just starting. So just those fun tournaments and hanging out with people that were your friends.